Mexican show
on FootMex Live.
Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I am Wiso from FootMexSource.com. No more World Cup, no more Era Real, no more world-class football games. We have the FMF Liga MX starting last weekend. Let's see what happens with all the drama. Let's go ahead and meet the group for today's video podcast. Tom Marshall from Guadalajara. How are you, sir?
Not bad, Wiso. Recovering from a busy weekend. Atlas game on Saturday, and then good old Chivas warming everyone's heart on Sunday.
Yeah, you got to go to the game at Atlas?
Yeah, I went to Atlas. Yeah, it was rubbish.
It was a great game.
It was awful.
All right.
Not gonna lie.
Wait, what a way to start the first weekend of the Liga MX. All right, from New Jersey, Jason Marquitz from Soccer Mexicana. Sir, haven't had you on in a long time. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm just happy to have Liga MX back in our lives again, and all the red cards and scoreless draws. Good times.
Red cards and scoreless draws. We could just end the show right there. Cesar, haven't seen you in a while, sir.
Yeah, I know.
How have you been? What's new?
Doing well. Definitely an alright weekend for the Liga MX, and now just preparing for another wedding this summer for one of my friends. This could be the second of 4th weddings I'm going to this summer. So yeah.
See, I ask what's new and he tells you something about his life, not like you guys.
I thought you genuinely cared about me.
That's real. That's why I said what's new. You know,
touchy personal stuff right there.
Yeah. The viewers like to know sometimes, what's going on in these guys' lives. It's not just about football. And obviously, for you can't see her once again. Hopefully, I think she exists. We know she does. But Kim, all the way, he's in Tijuana right now. Kim Tate, how are you? Thank you for joining us. How's it going?
Good. Gotta echo Tom's sentiments about recovering from a busy weekend and commuting back and forth from Tijuana across the border, 2-hour wait to LA to see 3 of the U.S. guys on Cholos competing for the national team and back. Then Cholos game on Friday, a busy weekend of Liga MX opening the tournament.
Yeah.
And just adjusting to life in Mexico as the Güerita.
La Güera. We can officially call her La Güera when she's on, guys. So, or Güerita, whatever you would like.
Change your Twitter name.
Well, a lot of different people today, and from different parts of North America. We don't have anybody in Europe yet, but we sure will one day. We'd invite some of you guys are on there. So let's get this started. We have a great show for you guys today. Obviously, Liga MX, the first weekend, all the red cards, all the great games, all the mistakes, the drama, obviously. Welcome Leones Negros. We get to talk about them. Great. Also, we'll go into talk a little bit about El Tri. What's going on? Chicharito, Aquino. Who's going to leave? Who's really going to leave? There has nothing been. Usually after a World Cup, something happens. Someone leaves. I remember 2006. Everybody was leaving, going to Europe. Nothing has happened yet. Why not? Talk to the experts. And obviously, we'll be talking about our favorite person, Piojo, talking on an interview with Mexican interview where he was talking about Corona and Memo Ochoa and all his heartfelt and talented team. So I know that started up a little bit of controversy on the internet, of course, but it's going to be a great show. Let's get this going. All right, guys, Liga MX, obviously the first week, something everyone's very excited about. Only a week and a half, almost not even a week until after the World Cup. It looks like, Germany just won a week ago, and bam, there's the Liga MX players playing there. So that's kind of funny. None other of the other leagues are starting. Mexico's already there, except for the U.S., where it's sort of right in the middle of it. But let's talk about what was the moment for you? Liga MX moment. That's our little segment today, right now. Liga MX moment. So I'll ask you, Cesar, your Liga MX moment for the weekend. Go.
Had to have been those red cards. I mean, after the 4th match, we had already had 4 reds. And there was some sort of weird moment where I, for some odd reason, was really hoping for more reds because it'd make for more entertaining soccer over the weekend.
It's kind of like when Brazil, obviously you didn't want more goals, but once they started scoring, you're like, you know what? What's 8? What's 9? Go to 10.
Exactly.
Then more red cards, the better.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting to see. Obviously, it went down a little bit. Only went down to 6. A little less than the 40,000 that I anticipated. But yeah, that was definitely still something interesting to see. Hopefully, it's not foreshadowing for the rest of the season. But we'll see.
All right, makes it for interesting football. Obviously, the refs. All right, the moment for you, Jason. Let us know.
I was, it actually came from that Monterrey Leones Negros game, and it wasn't seeing Leones Negros in the Premier Division in Liga MX because I think a lot of people were really excited about that. I was just really excited to see Humberto Suazo just playing again and back and just finishing and with authority, and like he just, I don't know, I'm really excited about what's coming from him this season and Monterrey in general. So they look like they are off and running with week 1, so I'm excited to see them back and what they're going to do this season.
The only team with the home win this weekend too.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Very visitor weekend. A great job for Monterrey, the only one taking care of it at home. Everybody else tying and losing. All right, Tom, what was the moment for you for Liga MX?
I think it'd have to be William Yarbrough, second goal where caught a free kick and then just Toronto just seemed to just lose his mind a bit and just fell back into the goal. I mean, yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, that was the difference, wasn't it? That was the difference between an opening day draw and a loss for Leon. I thought that was the game of the weekend, Leon America, and you know, it was a big mistake in the end that decided it.
Exactly. Go ahead.
It's kind of funny because like we finished this World Cup with all of the the CONCACAF goalkeepers just like wowing everyone, and we started this first weekend in Liga MX and like there was a whole bunch of just shaky goalkeeping on display like throughout these games, so it's kind of strange.
It's not like Yarbrough's a terrible keeper either. Like he's definitely potential to be like an excellent one for the future, but I kind of feel bad.
He's prone to mistakes.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy because if he wouldn't have done that little slip, that would have been a great save, actually. It would have been a great save if he hadn't fallen.
As a Leon fan, I can tell you that Yarbrough is very day and night. The guy can be an amazing keeper and then just has the worst mental breakdowns. And it could be because of maturity. He's coming on. Hopefully he'll develop that. He's got great vision, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised. I was like, one of the things that I said, watch out, we have a great keeper, but we have a horrible keeper at times. Yeah,
no, I really like him. I think he's got he brings a personality to it as well. Like you're saying, Wiso, you know, he can win your games. It's a bit like Ochoa, like we were talking before the World Cup. Yarbrough can win your games. He's that good, and his shot stop is unbelievable. What I especially like about him, and why I think he's got a chance under Herrera to get into the Mexico national team, you watch his distribution. As soon as he gets the ball, he doesn't even hold on to it 3 seconds, and it's gone, bang. And he starts those, you know, Leon under Matosas, just known for being this attacking unit, and he starts it. I mean, honestly, never ever keeps the ball more than a few seconds. Yeah. It's always firing it up there, getting the team on the break. So it's it's going to be interesting to follow his career because I don't think he's far from either national team now. Yeah, you know, obviously that mistake didn't help. But
a lot of people calling him, so we'll see. And obviously, Kim, what was your Liga MX moment for you for the weekend?
I had a couple, but I think my top one was the goal for Chivas by Fernando Arce because
it's close to home.
it's close to Tijuana. No, I mean, you know, there were mixed feelings from people from what I could hear and see about his preseason performance with the club. What I saw when he was here in LA playing Cruz Azul, I thought he did a really good job kind of keeping the midfield together and dictating the pace and the flow of the game. But it was just nice to see. It was nice to see that opening moment for him. You know, with his new club, scoring their only goal and scoring the first goal of the Apertura for them.
And in the way that he did it, I mean, off a free kick. I mean, you don't see that very often. I remember Fernando Arce way back in the national team. I just called him Lightfoot because the guy would hit the ball and would will just kind of flower over. But just a great job of what he's doing and obviously taking that. And Chivas, obviously, we'll get into what's going on with the Rebaño Sagrado. But good. Liga MX moment for me. Kind of had, I was going to say Yarbrough too, but Tom kind of took it. Luis Loroña's goal, I think it was, I thought that was a great goal. I thought it was, it went in, it said a lot. So I would have that be my Liga MX moment. But let's talk about the results. Just kind of throwing it out there. Obviously, we have Pumas Querétaro 3-1. Pumas taking the lead with Lodueña having great goals. Santos Veracruz 1-0. A tie between Atlas and Tigres. Xolos not having the greatest of starts against Puebla. Monterrey, the only team winning at home 3-1 versus Leones Negros. Toluca and Morelia, kind of a tie, a weird game going back and forth. I thought that it was an entertaining game, but no scores there. Cruz Azul losing 1-0 to Pachuca. Obviously, Tom talked about the León and America 2-1. Williams Yarbo's mistake, that little tap in by let's obviously the penalty kicks right in a row. Cesar, I don't know, you were tweeting right there. Oh, there's one, there's two. I really thought we could have tied that game.
The double penalty kicks. When was the last time?
Double penalty kicks, and it wasn't because of the keeper or somebody did that. It was funny. And obviously the last game, Chivas and Jaguares, which if you can't beat Jaguares at home, what says? But let's talk about what was the game for you, and have a discussion around. I think we talked a little bit about the León and America, so let's lead in with that. Anything else on the León and America? Is this saying anything? Last season, I think León doesn't have that greatest track records in the season against America. They've lost. As a fan, I know, but they take care of things in the postseason. But can we say it's a great start for America in the club?
But well, I'd say two things about this game really quick. I think one, there were a lot of players on each side that weren't match fit, and we saw all the national team players. Don't think they were with it. They still went absolutely at each other, which I thought was quite good, especially considering the kind of union in the national team. They really went at it. Secondly, I think it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this was the final once again. I mean, I just think there's a strong argument that these are the best teams in the league.
Yes, exactly. I didn't get to watch the first half, but towards the end of the half, as soon as I started watching, it looked like León was attacking. So, from what I've gathered on the internet and what you guys said, I mean, it was even, except for that, obviously that mistake with William Yarbo. Peralta, let's talk about him. What did you guys see? I still think it was a mistake for America to bring Peralta, a player that could only give you maybe a year or 2 years. Raúl Jiménez is still there, and I think he, like you said, he had at least a good game. But let's talk about Peralta moving in, debuting from America. How was that, Jason or Cesar?
I mean, he helped create the first goal.
Yeah.
He actually did most of the work for the first goal. I don't think he did that terrible. And I think considering the fact that, who knows what will happen with Raúl Jiménez, but I think, according to some Portuguese newspapers, it's a go that Raúl Jiménez is going to be going to Porto soon. So I think considering that, I don't think it's that bad. It's that bad of an idea to be bringing in Peralta. Maybe for that price, he's going to have to justify that price, that they brought him in for. But he definitely.
What was the price again? How much is it? $6 million pay for him?
I think it was $10 million.
I thought it was $10 million. Yeah, and then that's
yeah,
and I think it's like
for
$2 million every year too for.
Not for Uribe.
Oh, for Uribe.
Yeah,
because I know
they have the money. I don't think the money's the issue. So
I think Edic was saying that they wanted. That's why they're looking for $10 million for Raúl to leave, and that's what's kind of holding him on there. So it would make sense. I would think that they would want a little more. It's America, make a little more money. But yeah. I don't think it means a lot. It's great for America fans, obviously getting ahead, and great for Mohamed. One person that gains from this, obviously the fans, but obviously the coach, and to all that he was saying coming in. So great for Mohamed for the first win in the in the right direction. So great for them. Take it over to obviously America, and let's talk about Chivas. Let's talk about the last game. What we were expecting. We're there. I think Chivas fan, I don't think you should beat yourselves up. It's not going to be a horrible season. I think you should just blame one player, and it's Bravo. Bravo missing 2 key. Let's see it right in front. What else could have Reina done at the end of the game to give him just a little tap in? And we've seen it from Bravo, just miss these sitters. And it gets back to 2006 from that penalty kick. And you're not surprised when he misses these. So we'll go on there. Tom, you're in Guadalajara. What are the reactions from the Chivas game?
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with you, Wiso, about that they're going to be fine and all that. On paper the team is good enough, but there's just something about this club. On Friday they announced a new kit, the new uniform and stuff, and it was like this big thing, like new era at Chivas. We've got all these new players in. 6 new players have come in. Like, wow, we're going to do this and that, and Chicharito's going to come on before the game with his granddad, and this is the start of a new season. Let's have it. And then they play, and honestly, I thought Chiapas were a better team.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think there was much in it. I think we saw you right about Bravo at the end. He admitted it, to be fair to him. He was like, he lost that game for him. But you look at Chiapas just carving him up, like all game, just carving chances, and And you look at the midfield of Chivas with Israel Castro, David Toledo, and Arce, and you're like, how can they not control that midfield? You know what I mean? With the experience they have. I mean, and Kim mentioned Arce before. I think he's a player that could struggle, and I say that because after about 30 minutes, Bustos put him on the right wing, and he moved Angel Reyna into the centre. Now Arce is not a right winger. I mean, this is why one of the reasons why he left Xolos, because he was playing out wide, and he wants to be in the middle, and he should be in the middle. So I think it's worrying for Chivas. I mean, I know people on Twitter think I overreact, but it's like a dark cloud descends on this club, and I think the players are just stressed and nervous, and they don't want to make a wrong move. And if you're playing under that pressure, then you're not free to kind of express yourself, and that's what I see in Chivas this season.
Especially considering the fact that Arce goal. I mean, yeah, it was a kind of a nice free kick, but it was actually, it got a little lucky because the Chiapas goalkeeper actually made a poor decision right there.
Yes, he did.
So if he would have stayed in the same position he was at, there would have been potential he could have blocked it. So I mean, that goal in itself was actually not that fantastic of an opportunity. I was actually kind of like half expecting Chicharito to try to convince somebody to like send him in at the last like 15 to 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Or his grandpa too. See what he could do.
Yeah.
That's why, like, Chivas were absolutely, like, they were under siege. Like, they were under siege for large parts of that match. Like, and they did not look like the experienced team. They did not like the team that could really hold the ball. So I mean, you could cite the missed chances, but there are definitely like some signs of worry. It's game one. Like, maybe they sorted out a lot of new guys. Like, maybe they kind of find a way to play together better. But like, I don't know. It's a lot of old guys too. Like, so it's a lot of old guys who just aren't too fast. So I mean, I don't know. It's troubling for them.
I'm going to disagree with all you guys. I really don't think Chivas is going to do that bad. I'm telling you. I think Reyna is going to be the bright spot of that team, and as soon as he gets on, the fans are going to get on. They're looking for someone to just go back. And I know Reyna's had problems with Locker, but I think he's like, I'm trying to figure out, this is the time that I need to grow. I need to be the superstar that I know he can be. I really like Reyna on the national team, and when I liked him in his teams before, the guy has something that a lot of people don't have, and he could really turn games around. We saw it yesterday. We saw it on Sunday. So I really think that it's the first game. One missed chance, it could have been a 2-1, gives it the confidence, and we'll see where they're going for. Tom, you were mentioning something?
No, definitely Reyna. I think he was by far Chivas' best player, and everything good going forward came from Reyna. And it was interesting, Bustos, I was saying, brought him inside after like about half an hour when they were getting dominated. And I think, it is a big positive. But how can you explain Aldo de Negres? He was brilliant in pre-season. He was holding the ball up, so good alongside Bravo and Reyna on the right. And it's like all of a sudden the season starts and he's like, this player, and you're like, how is this player that was 2 years ago like really challenging for a starting spot in the national team? He comes to Chivas and he's just all of a sudden, I don't know what happens to him or what's happened.
He was really non-existent in the game. Like he didn't really influence anything in the match.
Salcido, he looks slow. You know what I mean?
He is slow.
He's slow, yeah. That's probably why he's chasing that.
He was trying to be a rough on the back too. Every time the ball came to him, he'd give out like a really crazy long pass. Like most of them weren't even like that accurate.
Those were
either.
Shots, Cesar. Those were shots. He was going for it.
All right, let's switch it over, guys. Talk about the team that was doing the things correctly, that looked at least. Don't know about the opposition, but Querétaro and Pumas. First of all, it looks like Pumas is playing under 150-degree weather with that sun. That and Toluca, I felt like these guys were so hot. But I guess they're great in the elevation. Pumas 3-1, Lodueña coming back. I mean, it looked like the team clicked, right? I know that you are more of a Cruz Azul fan, but Jason, you look at Pumas, obviously, the big rival. Talk about Pumas in the win over Querétaro.
I mean, for me, they look like the most like in sync and cohesive unit this weekend. They really like were complete, and they were playing a team in Querétaro who really should be challenging this season, who really should be making a push for a Liguilla spot. And Pumas like really complete. Everything they were doing, just the whole unit on the field. There were, I don't know. I mean, the goals were great, but like it was just like an impressive display from the defense, and really just a controlled match from them. Just a great display, great opening match for them, especially just getting this season started. Which like over the past seasons have been like ups and downs, and really getting this started off right. It seems like they're really going in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I think and I also wasn't disappointed with Querétaro. Thought they dominated the game in many ways, but. But Pumas was on the counter-attack. They just killed him on the counter-attack. And yeah, they've got it together. And I like Sosa up front. I like the addition of Britos. I think he's come in and he adds something. And all of a sudden, you've got Cabrera back, you've got Cortes playing. And all of a sudden, Pumas start to make a bit more sense, you know. And I think Querétaro will pick up points. I think they're going to be a decent team. 4 Brazilians in there. I think they're definitely going to be. I think they'll be challenging for the playoffs, Querétaro.
Oh, Jason, what was your your prediction for Querétaro?
Right on the bubble. I got them on the bubble. They're going to be. I really think they're going to be like that, like 8 to 10 range. You know, they're a good team. I think like they have a lot of guys. They have a lot of guys, like key guys, who are entering their second season with the team, who like are really should start to see a pickup. I think.
Good. Other news, obviously, around Toluca not getting things done against Monarca at the Bombonera. The story is Lucas Lobos. You know, he didn't. He said after the interview, obviously he didn't adapt. He needs time to adapt to the team of coming in. It looked like they were. It looks like they were going to win. They couldn't pull it off. Good job to Monarca. Morelia obviously keeping in there. It's tough playing in that stadium. It's tough playing against that team, which is always very concise team, very good from the back to the front. But Lucas Lobos not getting the attention that everybody thought he would get. Doing well. The move from Tigres, I mean, I know he's had a lot of personal problems, especially with his kid, and a lot of personal problems to do. But any thoughts on Toluca? I know, Cesar, you were covering the preview for it.
Yeah, I think that was actually. I think you told me that it was an exciting match, but for me, that was honestly the most boring match of the week. Like, I know. I mean, I know, like, I sleep in a lot, but it started like 10 a.m. and I was like almost falling asleep like halfway through the second half. I was actually getting pretty bored. I think Lobos had an all right start. We're gonna have to give him a little bit of time to see if he can work well with Toluca, and I think that is a good move for him as well. I think Tigres, I don't know what's going on with Tigres right now, and I think Toluca have the potential to do so much better. You know, they've been pretty consistent recently, making it into the playoffs. So I think that's a smart move. But I don't. Other than maybe Brizuela from Toluca, I wasn't really impressed with anyone during that match. It was back and forth during the first half, but the second half, really, I mean, they weren't playing with much drive either. I don't know what it was. It was almost like they were somewhat expecting a win. But yeah, I wasn't very impressed by Toluca.
Especially, yeah, Brizuela did. I'm glad you mentioned it, because I think Brizuela looked like he was a player out there. Every time he touched the ball, there was a magic that he had. And at points, I didn't know that was him. I was watching it in a bad stream, and I'm like, who is that? That's great. I'm like, oh, that's right. That's Brizuela. That's Conejito going down. All right. Obviously, we have Kim on. Xolos. We have to talk about Xolos. Couldn't get it at home. Kim, tell us why, what happened, what's going on. Is there be something to worry about with them not beating a Puebla? Maybe it's because of Temo. I mean, let's just say it because it's there. But what can you tell us about Los Xoloscuincles de Tijuana?
Well, I think a lot of people underestimated Puebla. I don't think that they considered them much of an opponent, anticipating the opening game. Even the home crowd wasn't as of impressive caliber as the last opener. Granted, the last opener was versus America, but no, I think it was a interesting game because you've got the integration of these new players from front to back. I mean, you've got Greg Garza on the left, Israel Jimenez on the right, coming in from Tigres. Speaking of Tigres, on loan, and you don't have Fernando Arce in the midfield holding things together. You've got the addition of Juan Arango, Alfredo Moreno. You still have Christian Pellerano and Dario Benedetto in there, who are kind of the glue that held everything together. And then I think one of the biggest things for this team was that they were missing Hernan Pellerano and, of course, their captain, Javier Gandolfi, who sustained a groin injury in preseason, and Hernan is on a red card suspension. Hopefully they'll both be back in the center for the game versus America. But I mean, let's talk about Elayo Castro for a second, in the place of Hernan. I mean, he's a great player, came out of the Santos Laguna youth system, when Farias would feature him last tournament, he usually had a good performance, but he was just so clumsy in the back. You know, I mean, that first scuffle in the box where he jumped up, where a scuffle ensued after that, I mean, that could have been a penalty. And he was just a liability throughout the whole game, and there was no cohesion there in the back. It was just really, really hard for them to find any way to connect. And that was very obvious in that first goal from Puebla, where they just, you know, shot it right through. And if you look at the replay, I mean, it was completely through the two center backs, who are very, very young. They don't have a lot of experience with that first team, and it's troubling because they don't have a lot of depth at that spot in the back. So that's something that they're definitely going to need to work out. Christian Pellerano wasn't given the freedom to play up as much. So, you know, I mean, as we saw last year, a majority of their goals came from him. I think he scored 7. He was their leading goal scorer. And yes, he played more of a defensive midfield role, but that was the one thing about the formation last tournament, was that he was given that freedom to move forward. This tournament, he wasn't at all, because he had Richard Ruiz and Juan Arango. And Juan Arango is supposed to be this highly anticipated, you know, signing from Venezuela who played in the Bundesliga. He's got a lot of familiarity with Cesar Farias from the club days down there in Venezuela and the national team, but he was completely mute. His set pieces were off, completely missed a perfect opportunity in the first half. So it's going to be a bit of an adjustment for Xolos, and I think that, you know, they really should have gotten the win, because Tijuana is such a hard place for opposition to play, and their home record is usually so good. So they didn't exactly get off on the best foot heading into a game on the road this Friday against a pretty scary-looking America team.
And speaking of that, I think it's important for Tijuana to win those home games, because I think they might have had one of the worst away records last season. It might have been the second or third worst. It's pretty crucial for them to win these home games, especially against Puebla.
Thank you.
It's surprising to me, because there was a couple, like, because I was really, like, not a big believer in Arce. I'm not a huge fan of Fidel Martinez, and I see those guys go, I'm like, okay, I kind of see what Farias is doing, like, and changing this roster, and they come out and put up that performance. It kind of, I don't know, it's concerning for me, what's coming from them in this season. I'm a little worried about Xolos.
Yeah, sometimes, I don't know, something's not clicking, is it? And it didn't click last season, and it's hard to know what it's like. You look at Benedetto, and he does some skills, and you think, man, this player could be really, really top, but it's never quite clicked from him. You know what I mean? He's never really quite threatening enough. I'm not really sure. I think that obviously the two centre backs, when they come back, that'll be the big test, and I think they're still going to be a hard team to beat this season. But I don't think they're going to do anything special. Like, looking player for player. Yeah, I mean, like we just talked about a team like Querétaro, not a very fashionable team. You know, you look at Puebla. I mean, I thought they played really, really well. I was highly impressed. Yeah. I thought they showed a bit of steel that they haven't shown in recent seasons. And you look at Chiapas. You know, some teams that are just like, all of a sudden they've got like 8 new players out of the 11. Yeah. You know, and some of them are good players. Look at Puebla, Loboa, Cosme, Bajoy, Marlon de Jesus on the bench. You know, Loroña. I mean, they've got some decent players, man, and it's like, yeah, there's some good teams in this league, and I think Tijuana might struggle because of that.
All right, well, you know, first game jitters coming in, just like you guys said. Got to get those home wins when they're coming on the road. They do take America at home, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a really, really tough game for them.
I'm sure you and Johnny Rico should get a little bet going. I think we should see what happens and who wins.
Also, back to the Xolos game, but did anybody see I think it was like, it looked like a couple had just got married.
Yes.
What was that? So important. I brought this up on Twitter, and obviously no one cared, because no one should care. But, so I'm wondering, did they get married at the game, or did they get married beforehand and we're like, you know what, why don't we just drop by Tijuana, see what's going on, and go to the match?
I saw them in the tailgate, or in the tailgate area in the parking lot. When I was going out to my car to get something, and you know, they were just surrounded by a big group of people, and they were all shotgunning Tecates.
It was the reception. There you go, you missed it.
Maybe it was the reception. I don't know. It was really funny though, because I rewatched the game the next day, and Jorge Ramos was telling his compatriot there on the mic. He said, because you know, she looked all happy and she was clearly drunk, bouncing around and all crazy. He said, her new husband is doing for her what you could never do for your wife. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh my god.
Lovely. Xolos does offer, I'm looking online, a Xolos Fan Express complimentary wedding day package. So, more power to them.
You found something. I kept doing a Google. I actually should have done more research about the games over the weekend, but I spent a solid 20 minutes trying to find out what was going on with this couple. Like images for just married.
If you guys know, there's a lot of theme weddings for America. I've seen some Chivas, some America weddings. I mean, I would not do that. Maybe an L3, maybe an L3 wedding, maybe, just maybe. I might be able to put that for my daughter. Just be like, here you go, honey.
There's nothing worse than the quinceañeras and all that with the America badge on them.
Yeah, the Chivas one. It's out there. Oh,
Medical
great
Chivas
to
is
see.
fun.
All right, what other games, guys? Of course, Cruz Azul. 17 years of waiting. I mean, what's another one, right? I mean, 17 years of errores, 17 years of pasión. I think I saw that. It was hilarious. Jason, tell us, Cruz Azul, what didn't click against Pachuca, which, let's say, it's not like Pachuca was supposed to be a bad team. It was the subcampeón. Go ahead.
So, you remember obviously you remember, you guys were paying attention, the El Tri's midfield last year, 2013. It's what I like to call the clogged toilet midfield that Chepo put out there. And it was just complete stagnation that occurred. And there was one element to that stagnation, Gerardo Torrado, that is also a member of the current Cruz Azul roster. And it's a similar dynamic. Now, this is not because of Torrado necessarily. It's just the fact that we have a midfield that is vacant from responsibilities and contributing to positive play with the game. They're just kind of there. So everything comes down the wings. But the problem is Cruz Azul comes out with, or two wing players were playing in the World Cup, so they're sitting out. So we come out with Pablo Barrera on one wing, and the wrong Vela on the other wing. Not Carlos Vela, Alejandro Vela. So you got these two guys in the wings, and it is a disaster. That first half was a nightmare because Torrado and I gotta I mean, I love Chaco. Chaco Jimenez he's my guy, but he's looking pretty rough right now. He was just rough in that game. So you got him and Torrado in the middle, and it's ugly. It's just bad. And those two guys coming down the wings, oh man. So I try not to get really kind of frustrated with this match because I saw the roster that came out for that game and was wow, this is just a nightmare waiting to happen, and it was a nightmare because Pachuca goes down to 9 players and just score, guys, and they can't. They physically cannot.
Any positives, Jason?
No. Rojas comes in, Fabian comes in. It doesn't really get much better. I mean, they have all the possession, obviously, but it never looks all that great. And I mean, I don't want to talk about Pavone on this podcast because I'm just gonna unleash obscenities and all kinds of things. So I'm gonna just kind of leave him.
Beer, Jason, take a sip of your beer. Take it easy. You'll be all right.
All right, somebody else talk about this team.
I think they were 0 for 2 with Chilenas too. I think there was 2 attempts at bicycle kicks that game.
We have great
taking shots from 40 yards out.
Stats. We have these great little stats in the Mexican Saga show. We have 1 wedding and 2 missed Chilenas. So just let's.
Those are the only stats that matter. That's what I've written down right here.
Again, it's the first week. I think people, it's so funny. Everybody gets so dramatic and gets so passionate about it, which is great. I love it. But at the same time, it's the first week of the World Cup just happened. It's just I think people are. It's gonna start happening, and I think we'll be fine. I mean, I don't know about Cruz Azul, but
I thought Cruz Azul looked unfit as well. Another team that that just didn't look at the races.
Bunch of fat people, Liga MX.
And I thought, I thought when they go behind, they're not very good when they go behind Cruz Azul. They're better on the counter, aren't they? I think Jason pointed that out in his video preview podcast, and he's and so when they go behind, they struggle. And I thought that Conejo Perez was unbelievable. The rain's coming down, and you see his handling absolutely superb, and he's about 51 or something now, but he's still got it.
51. The guy can. Oh my gosh, the guy can jump. Like I saw a time where he was just above everybody. There's a picture of him. I mean, he's still the man when he's up in the air, especially when he's getting that. So
that's something I've slowly learned is that even if there's now like some decent goal like in the world, not just like Liga MX, who are like in their early 40s, where like they're not bad. And it's kind of surprising that these. It's
all that testosterone. Tom Cruise is like 62 years old and he looks like he's 26. That's all that they do. It's like the more guys are just keep getting better when they age. Sorry, ladies. All right, let's go to what Liga MX Monterrey. Should we just talk about Leones Negros debut again? Tom, how was it? I don't think they played that bad, but what do you think on? I think they're able to compete. Pretty much, I think they're gonna be able to compete.
Yeah, I think they'll compete. I don't think they're going to do well though. I think they're lacking. I mean, just same reason, man. We've seen quite a few. You look at the majority of the teams, and they're better than Leones Negros. The majority of Leones Negros' players weren't playing in other teams that they brought in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I just think they're going to struggle. I think that it's going to be really interesting on Sunday when they play against it's gone who they're playing in the home debut. I mean, I think at the home, I think the fans here in Guadalajara are really going to get behind them, and I think it's going to be absolutely vital that they can pick up points at home, and starting Sunday against Querétaro. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, but I think they're going to be struggling. It might be a Chivas UDG battling it out for the relegation.
Ooh, like classical of the South Guadalajara.
Massive.
Wiso coined it. There it is. That's what it is right there.
The Southern,
gotta add that pause too.
Southern Guadalajara Clásico.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else worth mentioning? Santos getting 1-0 over Veracruz. The best game of the weekend. Atlas Tigres.
I would like to point out how great I think Andres Renteria is going to be for Santos. He kind of made a little. What?
No, sorry. Every time I hear Renteria, I think of that Sublime song. I don't know. Oh. Sorry, go ahead.
If the fans were a bit more imaginative, that would go well at the stadium, wouldn't
it?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Oh no, just nothing to elaborate too much on. Just that I think that he's going to be one to watch. I think he's got really great chemistry with pretty much anybody that can feed him the ball. And he's proven to be really, really effective at scoring goals. And I think that that's something that Santos is really going to benefit from. So my bold prediction for the season for Santos is that Renteria is going to be their leading goal scorer. And that's all I've got. That's all I have to say about that.
Are they, will they miss Peralta?
I don't think so because, I mean, to be fair, I don't want to say he didn't do anything for them last tournament because he's obviously a very important player, but I don't think that he had the performance that a lot of people expected him to, especially after the tournament before that and what he did at Mexico, or did with Mexico. Renteria for me did a lot better at finishing chances last tournament. So I don't think Peralta's going to be missed.
I think that another player they've brought this. Don't even know how properly pronounce it, but Janini Tavares from Cape Verde. Yeah. And I've heard people talk about him in pre-season. He's there's videos on YouTube. I mean, he looks absolutely ridiculous. I mean, somebody that can go past a player, quick, strong, like just like ridiculous things with the ball. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to see once he gets in the groove and gets starting. He could be the breakout star of the whole league this season.
Yeah, he's a monster. 6'3" or 6'4" or something like that. He's powerful.
Where is he from, Tom?
Cape Verde, but I get mixed up between Spanish and English with that. I think it's Cape Verde.
Yeah,
I might have just mixed both of them.
All right. The Ginani, right? It's like he's all right. Cape Verde, yeah, footballer.
That's right. That's right. He's a player.
Cape Verde. I'm looking at it right now.
It's correct.
His name is Jorge Giannini Tavares.
Got fact checked.
Great job. Just got fact checked. He did play in Madagascar. He played in Cameroon. He played in the Equatorial New Guinea. Now, where did they find? This is great. All right, guys. Anything to wrap up for Liga MX, guys? Looking forward for next week. Just games, but just kind of talk about overall over the weekend. We said it, red cards, the visitor team. It's funny because it doesn't surprise that the visitors all won the home game, especially Monterrey against the team that just came up from the descenso. So anything else to add for the Liga BBA Bancomer?
No. Hope for more weddings that I get to see on
Yes.
TV. Maybe it could become a thing.
You should get married yourself, Cesar.
No.
Right in
no.
there.
Jeez.
You want me life?
That's a little heavy.
I'm only 12 years old, Tom.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that, man.
All right. Well,
Wait 2 years you can be here.
obviously in the standings, you can't really do anything at 3 points. Everybody 1 point. Atlas does have 1 point, so it wasn't that bad for the Atlas fans. And looking at just kind of like that, Leon, Cruz Azul, Cholos, everyone with 0 points, Querétaro in the last place because of goal differential. So, good way to wrap up Liga MX. We're looking forward for this for Liga MX on the second week. Get us going. Hopefully, we'll see the bigger teams already coming out, and it should be some exciting games coming up. Let's switch it on over to El Tri. Always have time for El Tri in the news, but first, let's talk about what everybody's kind of just been saying over the weekend. Every day there's a rumor of somebody leaving, someone going. Where's Chicharito going to go? How come? And this would be pretty good to Tom, since you're in the international. You write for obviously in UK, and you're kind of all over the place. Tell us, what is it about Mexicans leaving after the World Cup? Why isn't it happening to the fans? What is it about? Is it Chicharito not looking for the club? I know that he was supposed to go on the U.S. tour, but overall, how come we haven't seen so many jumps like we've seen before in past World Cups?
Well, I think Efrain Juarez and Pablo Herrera, their path after the last World Cup didn't help. I honestly think there is still suspicion in Europe about Mexican players. It's not like the Argentine or Brazilians that they know what the clubs think they know what they're going to get.
They're so overrated, though. I mean, if Memo Ochoa had an Argentinian last name, I mean, just if he was from Argentina or Brazil, tell me he wouldn't be like that taken so fast, out of Ajaccio. I sometimes think
different with goalkeeper, though.
Well, yeah. Even with their names, look at you how much they're saving. I know it's a totally different topic. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, and they want a lot of money for him because they pay him high wages here, and it's a big thing. I mean, the players can stay here. There's not that need, and then clubs are unwilling to let him go. And then there's that kind of grey area of the Mexican game. I mean, what the hell's going on with Alan Pulido? I mean, over the last 6 months, you've had like him coming out saying his contract's running out. Then all of a sudden, Olympiacos are interested, and you think like, all right, on a rational global scale, contract runs out. He wants to go. He's good enough to go to Europe. The deal's going to be done. And then Tigres are like, oh no, he's got a contract actually. It's like, well, So it's that thing where the Pacto de Caballeros, where the contract can run out and actually not, and you still like belong to a club, which is weird. And I think European clubs are put off by those kind of practices. So I think a mixture of those three things, and I think the players. Just one last quick thing is that the players that we thought would be on the brink, like Peña, potentially Brizuela as well, and didn't play at the World Cup. And so I think they were hampered by that, and Pulido and Jimenez as well. So I think a mixture of things makes it more complicated for Mexicans than, say, an Argentine.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, the way that they pay their clubs down in Mexico, obviously they pay them well, and they're looking for a bigger team. So they might take in teams that are looking for a same skilled player at another country like Brazil or obviously Argentina are going to take it for a lot cheaper. And we'll see that. Yeah. Jimenez, I know you mentioned Cesar with Porto. It's been going on. Nothing really concrete. I keep saying on Twitter he's not leaving. He's not going to go. Not because I don't want to. I would love for him to go, but I think America needs Raúl more than ever. And I know Peralta is there, but at the same time, I really don't think he'll leave unless something just happened in the last few hours. But
it seems like America are willing to let him go. They just want a good price. I think, in essence, that's essentially what they want right now. But we'll see how much progress they get off that. And I think going back to what Tom was saying earlier about certain players who are on the fringe or about to go, like for example Miguel Layún, he was to add another player. He seemed like he was going to be ready to go. He was having an excellent last season, and then to me, I mean, I don't know what anybody else thought, but I thought he had a pretty poor World Cup. I wasn't really impressed with him. I think I was pretty underwhelmed by him, and I think you can add him to a list of players who were supposed to go to Europe, and then he just kind of didn't have that good of a World Cup. And perhaps that has influenced some decision overseas.
It's like when we have a great World Cup, none of the players leave because the whole team chemistry was better than the actual individual chemistry, which we've seen that's something to kind of look at. Efrain and Pablo had a great one-on-ones. I mean, that run for Pablo and obviously Efrain just kind of burning players, and then they went to Europe, as opposed maybe this year where Mexico is working better as a team. The Europeos are the ones that look better than anybody from, and maybe we're still looking at something that you said, Tom. Very, very good thing to talk about. Anybody else? Obviously, Chicharito on everybody's mind. Is he gonna leave? I don't want to be the person to say it, but I think he's gonna stay. I just see it again.
He's gotta go.
He's gonna be Rudy. If you've seen Rudy the movie, that's Chicharito. Rudy is the guy that just gives you 155%. He's small. He doesn't really need to be there. I mean, he's there in a big team. They took him on. He had an incredible, time before. Obviously, Rudy never really actually played for Notre Dame, but
he did at the very end. He did.
Oh yeah. At the end, he did. He had that tackle.
That's one we saw.
But
just like Chicharito, he gets like
no, but
seconds,
Rudy didn't have an amazing first season at Notre Dame as a freshman. That's what I'm getting to. I just feel like they're just
Notre Dame.
there's just Notre Dame. Is that? I'm sorry. That's how I reference to him on Twitter. It's like he just gives so much, and he's always just smiling. And I mean. And he's saying that I don't think he's going to leave. Van Gaal's going to go, yeah, of course I want someone that could jump in at the 82nd minute and give me that 1-0. Why am I going to let this great guy go? That's all he needed. And I'm going to have. And do I have anybody else? So I think he's going to stay. I think Van Gaal is going to be in there, and I'm going to hate him again. And he's going to say, you know what? We need you. I can't wait for you to play. We're going to give you some minutes. You're just right there, with Van Persie. And Chicharito's going to eat it. And he's such a great guy that he's going to stay. And he's going to have 150%. And we're going to have this talk again in 6 months.
Yeah, they brought him for the USA tour, too.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
No, yeah, he's flying on Tuesday, isn't he? But let me ask you a question. If Chicharito plays the same amount of time as he did in his first 2 seasons at United, should he stay then?
No. I think he needs to have his own. I feel like he just needs to go and take the team, mid-level team in Spain, get the minutes that he has as a starter, not someone that's coming as a super sub. I think he deserves that. But, at the same time, I'll play devil's advocate. Wiso, you didn't use him as a great, sub. I mean, you used him as a super sub in Mexico. I mean, I tell myself all the time, we want him to get his own team, but yet we couldn't do that in Mexico. Oh, we have such much better players in Manchester United. No, I just think that he needs to leave, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Jason or Kim, what do you guys have to say about Chicharito?
I agree with you. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to stick around. I think it's just like new manager got a late start and doesn't know what he has until he got in there and is going to assess things. So, I mean, I think he's going to end up sticking around a little bit longer, which is, I don't know. I think I feel the same way. I have mixed feelings about that. I'd like to see him move on, but at the same time, I don't know. There's a pretty strong argument for him to stay there and be an impactful player in that way too. So.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget after his first season, he started a Champions League final.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I mean, how many Mexicans can say that? How many players in the world can say that? I don't know. It's a really difficult situation.
Not exactly be playing in the Champions League final though with Manchester United this upcoming season, is he?
Hey, you never know.
Cesar. Of course he will. Van Gaal's in
Tom
now.
might cut you.
Oh, if you didn't know that.
Did you not see Holland against Mexico? He's a genius, Van Gaal.
It is true. On the biggest stage of, I think, Manchester United against practically probably the best team ever to play football, look at that Barca team, they started Chicharito. Remember that. All right. And obviously, keep forward with more transfer news. Aquino. Cesar, tell us about Aquino. What's going on with him? Is he going to leave? I hear some Europe teams. Is he going to stay? What's going on?
So there were rumors a while back that Rayo Vallecano were interested in bringing on Aquino. But now it looks like there's a good chance he'll be heading over to Scotland with Celtic. So we'll see how that goes. I think it'd be a better move for him to stay at Villarreal. But who knows? Maybe they're offering him much more money than they are at Villarreal. We'll see what happens with that.
It's Champions League as well, isn't it? So
are they?
Yeah, pretty much always win the league.
That's true.
Who else is gonna? Celtic. Who? Why is he going there? Really, I think it's a step down. I mean, Villarreal, he has got that. I know you mentioned, Tom, you know, I think they're trying to get rid of a spot, right?
Foreigner spot.
The foreigner spot.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they're pressuring him in there.
And his girlfriend's Irish as well, so, you know, the Celtic link kind of fits in a bit.
She's like,
maybe.
I want to go home. Let's go, babe.
Ish.
Go back to my house. Kim, you have a little connection with that you knew about Celtic?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, with Mexico having such a great showing in the World Cup and them sort of winning the hearts of fans all over the globe, it could be a good move for him, just knowing what we know about fans with Celtic and Rangers. I mean, I know I do a little bit of work with Carlos Bocanegra, and I see that even though he hasn't played with Rangers in quite some time, the fans over there are really, really one of a kind, and they just adore him so much still to this day.
Well, it's Captain America. I mean, who?
Yeah, I know, but and then, you know, also with Marc Rosas, who's now with Leones Negros, who was with Santos Laguna for 3 seasons or 3 tournaments. You know, he had 3 years at Celtic, and even though he didn't play the 3rd year, you know, he tweeted out an article that I wrote about him today, and you know, just adoration from the Celtic fans just poured in, even though he hasn't been there for quite some time. So it might be kind of a cool thing to see one of our El Tri guys go over and get to experience that, you know, the great fan base that they have over there in Scotland.
I mean, Efrain Juarez used to play for Celtic.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I think there's something to be said for players, just especially with the national team, just getting different experience in different countries and different styles. So, in that respect, I kind of like it for Aquino, getting somewhere else and just kind of like being in a different environment and getting that experience might be beneficial for him.
Yeah, from Oaxaca to Glasgow.
That's right.
Story of Aquino.
That's right.
The story of Aquino. We'll see where that goes. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap up. Anybody else? Any other transfer news you expect to kind of see, or anybody else? You know what? Let's talk about the Mexican just really quick. The Mexican that is leaving, and he goes to so many places, and he might not do anything, but he's at least getting transferred back to where he once wooed us, back to where he did amazing stuff at Olympiacos. Now he's back in Greece. The great old Neri Castillo.
I was going to bring him up. I'm glad you're bringing him up.
Of course I'm bringing it up.
No, I'm excited because I thought we were going to overlook it.
This is the good part.
Neri Castillo going, guys. We will see Neri will rise 8 years after his amazing Copa America.
The climax of our show right there. Jeez.
Yeah. I know. There's something about Neri Castillo which is just, I don't know, he just has such a, and obviously there's a lot of, you know, unfortunate situations which are involved in his earlier career, but he's such an interesting player, just all the nationalities that he's had, the fact that this guy played in like Manchester City for a little bit, he's all over them. I think it's a very, very interesting story. So anytime I hear anything about Neri Castillo, it's always interests me. And the fact that he's still playing in Europe, this guy's back.
He's got the best promotor in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy left from Leon, boom, he went to Rayo Vallecano, and then he was playing. He's not there. He's hurt. We'll see what happens. Just a little news out there. Obviously, you with Neri going back to.
All right, I'm done. I'm gonna go leave now. I'll see you guys later.
Cool. We'll see how he does, and maybe he's back. He did blow it up in that league with. Not only with, I think he did a little bit with Aris when he was healthy, but he went with Olympiacos. All right, guys, and before we end the show, let's just talk just what we've seen the last 3-4 days, kind of news on the Mexican national team and the drama. No, I'm not talking about Giovanni and Belinda and the drama that's been going on Twitter. I will. Let's talk about Piojo saying in an interview. If you've seen it, definitely watch that interview. He was just asked, tell us a little bit about the keeper situation. How did it go? And you know, when you told him, and I love about Piojo is that he'll like take you there to that spot and he'll describe it, the emotion that he has when he talks about the players. And I think everyone just loves to be in tune with him. And how he said, he's just like, you know what? I went in there, I talked for 2 hours and with my team, and we said we're going to take Memo. That's it. And then obviously he said we were going to talk to the 3 keepers. He brought the 3 keepers in there, and he said, you know what? We're going to go with Memo. They didn't say anything. They left. Corona talked to I think González Iñárritu, and he said, you know what, I need to talk to the coach about it, which you should do that. I mean, if you thought you were going to be it or whatever, why wouldn't you want to talk to your coach? You have that opportunity. It's not whatever the coach says. And he did. He said, you know what, that he was a little bit upset, but who wouldn't be upset? I mean, that's what I don't get. Did you expect Corona to be, okay, yeah, he has it, great? No, I think he's going to show that, and he's going to, and they talked about it. He didn't say anything private. He just said, you know, he expressed why. I told him, you know what, you're great. And after that, what I loved about Piojo is that he said in the interview, after that, he gave it 150%. He didn't stop. Even though I told him that he wasn't going to be it, Corona gave in, and he gave everything after in every single practice, and he did that. And he kind of like, if you've seen the interview, he kind of just said, you know, a great job for Corona to do that, and it's really hard to do that. And I think the interview kind of went in there. Obviously, what happened, the media just going out, everyone's tweeting, oh, Corona didn't take it well, and he's, you know, he started talking, and I think Corona just had an interview with that. So,
yeah, but like, I've not seen the full interview, but from what I gathered, it was that Herrera said in the interview that Corona had questioned whether the decision had come from above or from, what was the word they used? Was imposed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously, but is that true, Wiso? Did you say that?
In the interview, that's like a different part of it when they were talking about, and that's where Piojo said, no, of course not. If it did, then I'm just going to pack my bags if it was going to be that. Not really quite sure on who said that, but I don't think Corona was the one that actually said that. Maybe he did, but I didn't. I mean,
that's the story that came out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I need to listen to the interview, but if he did, then he shouldn't be saying those things.
And I don't think Piojo would say that.
Please?
Oh yes, Corona asked me if we're taking that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Piojo shouldn't be saying those things. That's like.
Right.
And I think, firstly, you should know it. And I think between now and Russia, Herrera's not going to make it because he's going to, for something like this, but much bigger, you know what I mean? I think he's going to blow it for himself, like by saying something out of order. We'll see. I mean, it's just my theory. And secondly, I think that if a player's coming to the manager and saying, hey, boss, you know, is this decision, you're not playing me due to, you know, some promoter or sponsor or something, then I think it tells you a lot about the mentality of the Mexican player. I mean, would this happen to Klinsmann? You know what I mean? In the US, obviously not. It's not even that surprising to hear that players think that decisions are made, because a lot of people in Mexico believe that the decisions regarding the national team are made because of sponsors. I mean, I just think it's a little insight more than anything.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going back. Corona, you know, went back into another interview. He said he wants to look at it and see what he said and all that, which is great. I think for once, as much as the media wants to start something with Piojo just goes, no, that's just the media doing something, and then it's
he's still feeding. That's the problem though. It's like there's nothing wrong with Piojo. You know, when in the interview, it was almost like it was kind of funny where he was just like, oh yeah, I brought the goalkeepers over and I let them know who got the position and whatnot. But there's no need for him to go into the details and say like, yeah, Corona got angry. And then there's a whole thing about like and I think that's completely unnecessary. And there's a bunch of people like us who just eat that up, and then we're just going to create this animosity and say that it's going to be you know, Corona versus Piojo, and it's unnecessary. And I think,
but Corona's not happy either. His statements are like, you know, he shouldn't be saying these things. You know, he said, I'm not going to have a problem. We're going to be available for the national team. He spoke today in a press conference on Monday, but he's not happy. You know, because you wouldn't be happy, because what goes on between you and a manager needs to stay there, and the players need to have that trust. And I think with Herrera, it could be his downfall.
I think
and Wiso doesn't agree. Wiso doesn't agree.
And speaking of Corona specifically,
go ahead, Jason.
You want to keep that guy happy. I'm just saying, like, you don't really want him to get too upset.
I think Herrera knows exactly what he's doing. He uses the media, and he goes, you know what? I'm not your normal. We're going to keep. I'm not Chepo. I'm not going to do that. I know exactly what I'm doing. And he's going to tell, so you better respect me. I'm going to use it against you. And I guarantee you, Corona's not going to throw a fit next time. Or he's not going to do that. Everyone just kind of respects you. Like, watch out. Piojo's on a different level with everyone. He'll go out and tell you that's just as an explosive manager. I don't know if it's the best, but he takes control of the media. Just like when everybody thought, you know, Corona was throwing elbows and spitting or whatever during that game 2 months before the World Cup. Who was the first person that said, no, I already talked to him. He has no problems like that in the World Cup. That was Piojo. So I really don't think there's either, you know, he's doing that. I know he speaks his mind. The locker room chat, I had this with Jolie. I was talking to him. Yes, you shouldn't say stuff that's, you know, one-on-one confidential with the locker room. But in the end, watch the interview, seriously, because I think he brings up Corona saying, I told them. And it wasn't that. He talked about He talked about Moises, how, you know, he broke his heart and he was, and, you know, and all this stuff. So it's interesting. It's pretty good. I like that we can get that out of Piojo in these interviews. I think he does a lot, but at the same time, we get to see what the manager's in there. And as a fan, I think I like that. And we'll see. I really don't think it's going to spill over. I think it'll be done, and we'll see it unless Corona keeps going and he's saying he shouldn't be, and there's drama there. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think at one point or another too, I mean, you kind of have to think, what are some of the other players in the national team thinking now? Are they going to be a little bit more reserved and a little bit more cautious when it comes time for them to have these conversations with Piojo? You know, wondering, do I really have to watch what I say? I need to be careful because I don't want my private moments to be leaked out to the media by my coach. I don't know. I have to agree with Tom a little bit. I don't think that it was very appropriate for Piojo to dive that deeply into those kinds of details.
Yeah, he's going to keep on doing it, and it's going to be fun. You know what I mean? It's going to be more.
It gives everybody else
great
a job.
for us.
Yeah, maranadas, like
Maranadas.
the Futotzin or whatever the chant origin was that he came out and said, like
the Nahuatl.
Yeah, it's like it's going to be a lot of fun, you know.
And
but I don't think it's the difference that we've got. We saw is that I don't think he can keep the lid on it.
Yeah,
and you do. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a bet on it. Let's have a bet on it. What should we bet?
I don't think he'll get fired because of the media. I think he'll get. I mean, or he'll leave because we didn't win the Gold Cup, or we left in the first stages of the Copa America or something. I think on that. One thing that I do is on the interview he does talk about Gio, and it definitely he talks about how he said, you know, I hadn't seen him. And to me, it doesn't matter what you've done. It's how you practice. And if you give me 150%, I'm going to put you in there. And definitely watch how he said that Gio didn't start the Olympics. He was on the bench, and he showed that he should have been there. And then he got to play. And he talked about that with Gio. It's, you know, I haven't seen you play, and I want you to be there. And that Gio just stepped up and did amazing in practice, and no one else had the secured spot, and Gio was a starter, and Gio was there. Gio was a difference maker during the World Cup, and he's not there to, you know, yes, I need you, you have great talent, but if you don't give me all during practice, you're not indispensable. So I definitely like that. Those are the things that I liked that Piojo says. You know, when are you going to see Chepo say that, you know, instead of his tenemos salud, lo que importa, or you know, his very dry cut. That's what I like about Piojo, and it gives the fans, and I think it works on his advantage with the media as much as possible. But we'll see where he goes. No real friendlies have said. Obviously, everybody's waiting on where we're gonna have. I know there's some rumors about a Europe tour against Holanda, against the Netherlands.
I'll fly out.
Yeah, let's all go. And I think I heard somewhere around Belarus or a small European club team. But anytime that Mexico's in Europe, I think it's obviously great when we're playing at home. Obviously with some contracts, and obviously 2 in Mexico, which is also I hear. Jason, sorry, no.
What?
Didn't say anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Jason, say something.
Things.
All right, guys. Anything else? Any big stories? Anything that's there?
Yeah, I think I'll throw in, since I'm here in Tijuana, and
that's right. Go.
3 of Xolo's U20 players who Farias is giving a chance to play up with the first team this year got called into national team camp, and they won the NTC Invitational, which is kind of a friendly, not so friendly tournament against 3 other countries. They played Australia, Chile, and Bermuda.
Like the US, though. The US.
The U.S., yes, I'm sorry. The U.S., and a particularly interesting talking point there is that the 17-year-old son of Fernando Arce, who we talked about in this show, was called up to the U.S. national team camp. He's the youngest player to feature for Cholo's first team and also on this national team squad, and he had a really, really great performance. He played in all 3 games. He played the full 90 minutes in the first game, about 15-20 minutes in the second game, and I think he played the full 90 on Friday as well. And his coach, Tab Ramos, has nothing but great things to say about him. I talked to him a little bit today, and Fernando Arce Jr. said that he's really, really happy to be there. He's really embracing the opportunity. His teammates are very nice to him, very welcoming. And it's a really cool storyline to see that, you know, you've got this prolific Mexican national team player in Fernando Arce, who's been around for a while.
Well, I don't know, prolific.
And now you've got his 17-year-old son, who's who's making a name for himself and making an impact with the U.S. national team, where he's very happy and according to what he told me, he wants to stay. So
let's cap him. I mean, I think he should go to the national team right away. Go to the World Cup. Julian Green score a goal, and he's in. And then I want to see the U.S. national team versus the dad, and that'll be a game. It's like pay-per-view, U.S. versus Mexico. The Arce dilemma on where they can go.
No, but I can't imagine. I mean, Kim knows him better, but I can't imagine if Mexico came into him tomorrow and said, "You come into the next U20 camp." I mean, he's Mexican, and I mean, was he not just born in the U.S. and then
what?
To Mexico?
It's really funny because I asked him that question today. I asked him. I said, now that the U.S. got to you first. You're not cap tied by any means. If Mexico came calling tomorrow, if they came knocking on your door, would you go to Mexico? And he said no, out of respect for the national team, for the United States national team. They came to me first.
I don't believe him.
Edgar Castillo comes to mind as soon as you drop him off.
Lost passports and such.
Good luck to him, and I think it's great. I think it shows a lot. And good thing you brought Fernando Arce Jr. because I think it shows that, hey, it doesn't matter where you're from. I mean, obviously, the opportunity to play is huge, and don't discredit that. And I think some of us fans, they get to it, oh, you know what, go or whatever, and it gets to us when you don't get. But good luck for him. Obviously, individuals of immigrants coming to the United States and having kids, and they have the opportunity to do. Hey, where it's at. I don't like, going back and forth, especially national teams, larger ones. So if he did say that, that's great that he stays there, and good luck to him. I think it'd be interesting, especially with Fernando Arce being, playing for Mexican national team. I think that's a great story right there, and it unifies the North America. As much as we're heated rivals, you don't see this very often in what happens. So that's great to see.
Yeah.
Well said. Good job. Great to bring that up sometimes. Especially when we have special guests on. Thank you so much, Kim, for coming on. Always there. I know that you do a lot with Xolos, and you do a lot in San Diego area, obviously with Tijuana. Where, just really quickly, where do you write? I know we mentioned it before, but what are you working on, or who do you work stories for?
Right now, I'm doing a lot of stuff with Soccer League, and then I will likely have a couple of pieces out this year. Maybe one or two with Fox Deportes. So
great, with Eddie. Good, Tom. You're everywhere, man. Mr. Twitter, Mexico World Cup, Goal.com, ESPN FC. Anywhere else? Did I miss? BBC.
Two others, but no. Yeah, that'll do.
All right.
ESPN, Goal, MLS.
Good. Obviously, it has great insight. Jason, Soccer Mexicana, his articles. Anything coming up new, sir, for you?
You'll just have to wait and see. All surprise. Clouds of mystery over here.
All right. And then Cesar has, obviously, we joined for welcome you for the FoodMex family. We'll be having his weekly column with us at FoodMex Source. You see a lot more of that, and his Big Verde blog, and obviously ESPN FC. Anything else other than that, Cesar?
No. Usually, I mean, I've been, since the World Cup, I haven't really been following, or I haven't really been posting much on the Big Verde, but I'm bringing it back tomorrow, if anyone wants to read Incoherent. All caps.
What about the beer blog?
By the way, really quickly, we make a
We
plug.
have to bring up the beer.
Let's put this together.
We'll do it.
It's called
We'll do
Happy
it.
Hour. It's this little podcast that Cesar has about beer.
Little
snobbish.
Wiso. No, it's huge. We have like
Tiny.
54 followers on Twitter, man.
So if you like beer, definitely give a little plug to.
What is it? What is it?
No, but seriously, but it's something really exciting. Me and my friends are trying it out. It's called the Happy Hour. The Happy
Nice.
Hour. Yeah, so if you want to give us
oh my
yeah.
God.
So it was actually my idea too. If we make $8 million, like most of that's going to go to me since I came up with the title. But if you guys want to follow us, just go to @thehappyhour for Twitter.
Right
God,
We
you
have
can,
something
right
else.
this
Guys.
second.
We're not just engulfed. We're not engulfed in just soccer. We venture out. So
yeah.
guys, another great show. Thank you so much for being on. We're gonna keep this usually on a Tuesday. This comes out today. For you guys that are listening, we record Monday nights. Keep that in a weekly. Have a lot more stuff. As you saw, the Liga MX previews and these smaller videos that you see, definitely keep following us. Keep the passion around, especially with Liga MX and the Mexican soccer team. Guys, another great episode. I am Wiso signing out. Thank you all for being in, especially to you guys. Make sure you share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on all the different mediums. Try to spread the word out there. That way we keep giving you what you need, and that's Liga MX and El Tri News. Have a great day. Talk to you later.